When building and testing an MVP, you'll collect two main types of data, qualitative and quantitative. Both are essential, but they tell different parts of the story. Knowing how to interpret each and when to use them together is what separates guesswork from insight. It's how you turn feedback and numbers into real understanding and confident product decisions. Let's start with quantitative data. This is your measurable, number-based information. Sign-ups, click-through rates, retention percentages, time spent on page, or conversion rates. Quantitative data tells you what is happening. It shows patterns and trends at scale, helping you identify which parts of your MVP are working and which need attention. For example, if your analytics show that 70% of users drop off at the onboarding stage, that's a clear signal that something in that process needs fixing. Quantitative data gives you clarity and direction. It reveals where to focus your efforts. But quantitative data has limits. It doesn't explain why something is happening. That's where qualitative data comes in. Qualitative data captures user emotions, motivations, and perceptions through interviews, open-ended surveys, or direct observation. It's the story behind the numbers. It helps you understand how people feel about your product and why they behave the way they do. Imagine your analytics show low engagement with a feature. Quantitative data tells you that users aren't using it. Qualitative feedback might reveal the reason. Maybe users don't understand its value, or the button label is confusing. Numbers point to the problem. Conversations uncover the cause. Think of it this way. Quantitative data is like an X-ray. It shows you the structure. Qualitative data is like a conversation with the patient. It helps you diagnose what's really going on. To use both effectively, you need to combine them into a continuous loop of learning. Start by using quantitative data to spot patterns, then use qualitative research to dig deeper into those patterns. For example, if analytics show a drop-off at a specific point in your funnel, conduct short interviews or surveys to find out why users stop there. Then, after making improvements, use quantitative metrics again to measure whether the changes worked. Let's explore how to collect and interpret both types of data in your MVP process. For quantitative data, start by setting up simple analytics tools. Google Analytics, Mixpanel, or Amplitude can track user behavior and performance. Define key metrics that tie directly to your MVP goals, like activation rate, retention, and conversion. But don't fall into the trap of tracking everything. Focus on the numbers that actually validate your hypotheses. When analyzing quantitative data, look for trends over time, not just snapshots. Are your metrics improving as you iterate? Are more users completing your core actions? Use charts and funnels to visualize progress. And remember, correlation doesn't always mean causation. A spike in signups could be due to a new feature or just a mention on social media. Always interpret data within context. For qualitative data, use structured methods to collect insights. Conduct user interviews, usability tests, or open-ended surveys. Ask users to describe their experiences in their own words. Questions like, "What do you like most about the product?" or "What frustrated you while using it?" can reveal powerful emotional insights. Tools like Hotjar or Lookback let you record user sessions and observe behavior in real time. Watch where users hesitate or click repeatedly. Each of these small actions tells a story about their experience. When analyzing qualitative data, look for themes and patterns rather than isolated comments. If multiple users mention that onboarding feels confusing or that a feature is hidden, that's a signal worth acting on. Group similar feedback together and prioritize the most frequently mentioned or high-impact issues. To make qualitative and quantitative data work together, align them under the same hypotheses. For instance, if your hypothesis is users will invite others to the app if the sharing process is easy, measure the number of invites, quantitative, and ask users what they thought about the process, qualitative. When both data types point to the same conclusion, your findings are strong. If they conflict, investigate further. One common mistake founders make is relying too heavily on one type of data. Leaning only on numbers can make your product feel robotic. You'll miss emotional nuances. Relying only on feedback can make decisions subjective. You'll act on opinions rather than patterns. The balance between the two creates clarity. Here's a simple framework for interpreting both. 1. Identify the signal. Quantitative data shows where something's happening. 2. Seek the story. Qualitative feedback explains why. 3. Act and test. Implement a change. 4. Measure the outcome. Use data again to validate results. 5. Repeat the cycle. Keep iterating with both lenses. As your MVP grows, the ratio of data types you use will shift. In early stages, you'll rely more on qualitative insights because you're working with fewer users and need depth of understanding. As your user base expands, quantitative data becomes more powerful because it captures trends across larger samples. Ultimately, the magic happens when you integrate both. Numbers tell you what's working, stories tell you why. Together, they paint a complete picture of your product's health and your user's experience. In summary, interpreting qualitative and quantitative data isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about balance. Use quantitative data to find the signals and qualitative data to uncover meaning. When you combine them effectively, you don't just make better decisions. You build a product that's grounded in empathy, evidence, and continuous learning.